A jam-packed Fenway Park awaiting the start of Game 5 and the ceremonial first pitch thrown out by Ted Williams, a familiar number 9 for anyone who ever saw him. He came here to Boston in 1939, called it a career in 1960, a lifetime batting average of .344. It just wouldn't be right to have a World Series game here without seeing the kid.
Oh, brother, he still looks pretty good.
It was 1969 when he was named to the starting outfield of the greatest living team. And we're delighted to have him here with us. We have a chance now to take a look at the starting lineup.
Please, ladies and gentlemen.
As you see Wade Boggs and Bill Buckner looking over towards Ted Williams. The visiting Mets, who are trying to keep the road show a winner, opening up their act in Boston and preparing to bring it back to Broadway. Remember, all 4 games in this World Series won by the visiting team. The Sox won the first 2 games at Shea Stadium, and then the Mets returned the favor in the first 2 here at Fenway Park. For the New York Mets, Len Dykstra will be leading off in center field. The decision for Davy Johnson. Do I stay with the inspirational Wally Backman, or do I go with the right-hand hitting second baseman Tim Tuffle? The answer was easy. He goes with Tuffle all year long. He goes with him tonight. Keith Hernandez at first. Gary Carter behind the plate. Darryl Strawberry in right. Ray Knight at third. The designated hitter Kevin Mitchell. The left fielder Mookie Wilson. And the shortstop Rafael Santana. And of course the pitcher Dwight Gooden.
The defense, well, the lineup is exactly the one he's been using. Rice in left field, Henderson in center field, Armas still hurt, Evans in right field, Boggs, Owen, Barrett, and what a series Barrett is having. Buckner at first base, Gedman behind the plate, and Bruce Hurst on the mound.
Bruce Hurst, the 28-year-old left-hander from Utah, with a record of 13-8. But he had 4 shutouts here at Fenway Park, and he was 8-3 at Fenway with 7 complete games. He is 2-0 in postseason play, 1 in the League Championship Series, 1 in the World Series, with an earned run average of 1.5. So he becomes a most formidable foe in Game 5.
Got a great forkball. He's a strikeout pitcher, as indicated by, in fact, for a while there, he was way past Clemens until he got hurt. A good fastball, curveball, the forkball. We saw him against Toronto on a game of the week. He really looked tough. And he's got a good move, so that'll be, I think, a factor in trying to hold these base runners on, because I think you got to believe that Dykstra and Tuffle are going to try to get on and get the big guys going, because Dykstra has been some story in this series.
It'll be interesting indeed. 39 pickoffs in the last 4 years. So it'll be Len Dykstra, then Tim Tuffle and Keith Hernandez. And we're about ready to go in Game 5. A light shower visited Fenway, moved out, and it looks like we're ready. Dykstra with a home run last night and led off the game against Oil Can Boyd with a home run. He had 3 leadoff home runs this year. Up in on the grass, and here we go. Right.
And he starts him right off with the curveball. With all the talk about Buckner's legs and Barrett really breaking in from second base, they still not have, the Mets have not been able to bunt.
No balls and 1 strike to Lenny. The outfield about straight away. And that's fouled off third, carrying upstairs. And out. The breeze tonight is blowing from left to right, and it has straightened out Old Glory in that area. So that'll shorten up that 380 area in right field for the left-hand hitters who can pull. Just off the corner with that showcase fastball, 1-2. A ground ball to the right of Barrett. Marty stays with it to get him.
Started him off with the curveball, threw a fastball with 2 strikes on him, fastball outside, and a big overhand curveball. He took something off that pitch. So he's already, in just the first batter, showing him he's got pretty good control of his stuff.
One change in the Mets lineup. In game 1, when Bruce Hurst pitched against the Mets, Tim Tuffle was batting 7th. Tonight against Hurst, he is batting 2nd. He had 2 hits against Hurst in game 1. Ball 1. And of course, it was Tuffle's error that allowed the only run of the game to score. And now a chance to tell his side. Good fastball. A lot of motion on that one.
When they talk about him, they say that pitchers like to go to one particular pitch when they get in trouble. Not this fella. He's got a couple of them.
1-1 to Tuffle.
There it was. Well, he calls it a forkball, but the term of the 80s is a split finger fastball.
And Tuffle a little bit out in front of it. That was the difference between the regular fastball and the forkball. 1-2 the count. On deck, Keith Hernandez. 2-2.
He likes to get on one knee, he says, especially when the left-hander's pitching. When he's in the on-deck circle next, he's bearing down.
And that's hit into right center field. Base hit. And it will roll towards the bullpen. Jim Rice allowing Henderson, and Henderson will get it back in, but it's a double for Tuffle. So Tim Tuffle with a long double to right center field, and that would be his 3rd hit against Bruce Hurst.
Just simply goes with the pitch. You see the outside part of the plate, and Davy Johnson, using the lineup that got him here, puts Tuffle in there, and he's in scoring position, and Hernandez up there.
So by the time Henderson got it in, no play at second base, and Keith Hernandez the batter. Hernandez went 0 for 3 against Hurst and did walk once in their previous meeting. Off speed, just slipped it in there.
A big curveball.
Oh, 0-1 to count to Keith. Marty Barrett can't do anything about Tuffle. He's playing on the edge of the infield, way over to the right. So the job to hold the runner is for Spike Owen.
They're really not bird dogging him too much at that. They're just both holding their positions. Barrett way over there protecting that hole on the right side.
One ball, one strike. On the inside corner with the fastball. Big pitch, and the count 1-2.
He didn't like it at all. Hernandez thought that pitch was inside.
By the way, with Bruce Hurst pitching, the plate umpire is from the National League, Ed Montague. Then you have Dale Ford, John Kibler, and Jim Evans on the base pad. Harry Wendelstedt down the left field line. Joe Brinkman down the right field line. 1-2. Two balls, two strikes. Jim Evans saying no swing. He joined us a little late. Dykstra grounded out. Tuffle double to right center, and Hernandez the batter, 2-2. And of course, on deck is the man who had the big night last night, Gary Carter. Carter with 2 home runs and a double and 3 RBIs, waiting for a shot.
It's a big pitch because he could work on Carter if he gets Hernandez out of the way with Strawberry following Carter.
3-2. And a ground ball to the right side to Barrett, who plugs up a hole. He has to wait for Buckner because Buckner on those bad wheels took so long to get to the bag. Tuffle advancing to third. And here comes Carter.
Buckner going in to say something to Hurst. It's not a situation where you would walk him intentionally, but it's certainly a situation where you impress upon him, hey, in the meeting we said the pitch we don't want him to hit is, and I would assume that's the fastball. So Strawberry's up next. He's the guy. So let's see what happens.
If you notice the 7 RBIs for Gary Carter, that's the most RBIs for a National League player in the World Series since '82, when Keith Hernandez had 8 RBIs. Off speed, ball 1.
I think if he sees a fastball, then it'll be to push him back or outside. He certainly should not get a fastball he can handle.
1-0. In there for a strike. Just to go back, their last confrontation, Carter went 1 for 4 with a base hit. On deck is Darryl Strawberry, who struck out twice and walked twice against Bruce Hurst. Carter, by the way, has hit in 6 straight games. Fastball. He didn't get around on it. A little roll to Barrett, and Marty gets him. So he was late on the fastball, and he leaves Tuffle at third. The Mets failed to score in the first inning. Here's how the Red Sox stack up. Wade Boggs leading off at third base. Marty Barrett, who has hit in all 4 series games, at second. Bill Buckner at first. Jim Rice in the cleanup spot in left. Don Baylor the DH. Dwight Evans in right field. Rich Gedman behind the plate. Dave Henderson in center field, and Spike Owen at short. On the mound, Dwight Gooden, with a record of 17-6. In being careful about him, remember he's coming back on 3 days rest for the first time in his career.
Defensively, Mookie Wilson, who just seemed to have all kinds of fun out there last night. He really enjoyed it. Dykstra in center, Strawberry in right. It's night, Santana, Tuffle, and Hernandez. Carter behind the plate, and Gooden against Wade Boggs, who's been having a little bit of a tough time.
Dwight Gooden, 21 years old, and Davey Johnson said you have to protect these young arms, but I don't mind pitching him on 3 days rest, because in his previous outing in 5 innings he made 90 pitches, so they thought they could bring him back tonight.
You saw him ask the umpire if it was okay to blow into his hands. I'm not for sure he got permission, and Montague without a jacket, Vin, you must think it's plenty warm out here.
Well, we'll see about Wade Boggs putting on some heat. Ball 1, 1-0. It's nice to have Ted Williams watching, with another great hitter at the plate in Wade Boggs. Ted, of course, never had a 200-hit season. Boggs has done it 4 straight years. Right, 1-1.
A high fastball. That's the pitch he has to lay off.
1 ball, 1 strike. Fouled away, 1-2. The Mets have a very tough mountain to climb tonight. One of the strengths of the Red Sox, the fact that they were not swept at home. They were not the victims of a 3-game sweep by one team in Fenway until the division was clinched, and then the Yankees swept the series. And the Mets trying to do it tonight. 1-2. Little number in front of the plate. Gooden is there, and that takes care of Boggs. That'll bring up Marty Barrett, who has hit in all 4. Boggs going 0 for 5 last night, so he's now 0 for 7 as he goes back into the dugout. Interesting, the flip-flop of Marty Barrett and Wade Boggs during the regular year, and it really benefited both men. However, in the series, Barrett, as you can see, is hitting .412. You know what Boggs is hitting? .167. Ball 1. Ball 2. 2-0.
He has not let up on a pitch yet. Just hard fastball, hard curve. If you're wondering about his speed, it's in about the middle 90s. 94 was one that we clocked. Some people said he let up on his fastball to get over for strikes, but I'll tell you something. It's the movement on the ball that was lacking in some of his games.
2-0. Tell you one thing, he looks like he's throwing a little harder than he was the other night at Shea.
He looks looser, and of course he's got such great rhythm. He uses his entire body, pushes off those legs, very fluid in his delivery, and he does that disturbing thing of looking away from the hitter in the middle of his windup. When you throw that hard, that can be a bit scary.
2 balls, 1 strike. There's a breaking ball over for a strike. 2-2.
I would think when he lets up on that curveball, you jump out of your car to hit it because he throws that good curveball so hard. Now watch him when he looks and delivers. He'll take his eye off the target twice in his delivery.
Three and 2, and he went back to the heat. On deck, Bill Buckner. And if anybody gets on, Jim Rice. 3-2 to Marty Barrett. 1 out in the first inning, no score. Very high. So Gooden walking Barrett with 1 out. Now he has Buckner and Rice coming up. Buckner, Rice, and Evans have had a tough series hitting with men in scoring position. Buckner right now is just trying to get started, as you can see, hitting under 200.
This is one of the few situations where they could start somebody at first base. Red Sox certainly not known for their speed, but they might start Barrett with Buckner's bad legs.
Ball 1. Barrett led the club in stolen bases with a modest 15, while Buckner was second in the major leagues in grounding into double plays. So Buck checking with Rene Latchman.
He gave him one sign, and when you back out of the batter's box, that's telling the coach, hey, I didn't get it. Give it to me again, which he did.
One ball, no strikes. And he's got Barrett. Yep, he picked him off. He was leaning the wrong way, and Gooden shot him down and hung him out to dry, and that'll do it for Marty.
You can see him start to go. And Gooden, who's really worked on his pickoff move, and a quick one and a quick tag, and they get him. They used to say Gooden can't hold anybody on, and the joke always was, well, nobody ever got on. I remember Sandy Koufax talking about him then. He said he has a great ability for keeping runners off base.
1 ball and no strikes to Bill Buckner, who whacks it up the middle for the base hit. So that was a very big pickoff play for Dwight Gooden. So 2 down, a runner at first, and now Jim Rice, the batter. Here's that pickoff.
He about took himself 1 full step, and Gooden with a good quick throw. They get him.
Now it's Rice. The first time they hooked up against each other, Gooden struck Rice out. Later on during the game, Rice had himself a 3-hit game. Breaking ball for a strike, and you can see Rice kind of give on it, taken all the way. 0-1. I guess everybody in the world knows that Rice is a first ball fastball hitter. Fastball hit behind the mound, kicked at second by Tuffle. He should have had the 3rd out. Tim Tuffle had plenty of time with a sore-legged Buckner coming down, and he couldn't make the play.
It hits right off the mound. Looks like it's going to get by, but hitting the mound, it slows down, and you can see Tuffle a little bit off balance. He had plenty of time. Here comes Buckner now, and that'll be an error.
No. The word is they're giving a hit we get. Let's double check on that. flashed hit in one place, and they put error on the scoreboard. And we will assume it's an error unless we hear otherwise. And he would have had Buckner by plenty. All right, the first big break was the pickoff. The second, the bad play by Tuffle, and now let's see. Baylor fouls it away. 0-1.
They're really playing Baylor to pull that ball. Once again, Santana is over in the hole. As you can see, look how close he is to third baseman Knight. Mookie is over near the line. Baylor is strong enough to be able to pull that ball, but I tell you, he's got a real challenge against Gooden if he gets that ball outside and tries to pull it. It could be the ground ball that they're looking for.
Last night, the Sox had the bases loaded in the first inning and failed to score. By the way, they have now taken the error down off the scoreboard, and they are going to give Jim Rice a base hit. So a walk and two singles, but 2 out, 2 on. Buckner, a tough man to score on a base hit at second, and Rice at first. 0-2 to Baylor. Curve, half swing, no swing, says Dale Ford.
He is really emphatic when he calls him. You remember the other night at third base, he really gave a big call.
In retrospect, over the 4 games plus tonight, there's not been one appeal that has been granted in the series.
And not really any beefs as far as the umpires. They're really doing a super job.
1-2 the count to Baylor. Barrett picked off after the walk. Buckner's single. Rice a scratch single, and here is Baylor with 2 out. 1-2. Tuffle playing him up the middle. Curveball hit foul.
It's pretty apparent that they're going to try to get Baylor out without showing him or giving him a fastball to hit. All breaking balls so far, and of course, the more he throws it, the more that puts the thought in Baylor's mind, when is he going to throw it to me?
For John McNamara, he knows full well the Sox left 11 men on base last night. And he's faced with that problem here. 2 on and 2 out in the first inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And he's hit by the pitch. Don Baylor needs just 16 more if he can stand it. And he will break the all-time record of being hit 243 times by Ron Hunt.
And I love the way he looks at that record. He says, well, it's not the kind of a record that I used to dream about as a youngster. It really drills him, but he's right on top of the plate. You can see that ball boring in, and look at Gary Carter kind of almost ducking it. That fastball just kept coming in.
Well, you talk about opportunity coming around twice last night. Dwight Evans came up with 2 out in the first inning, and the bases loaded, and hit into a force play. And here he is with the same opportunity tonight. Curveball, 0-1.
Mel Stoudemire felt that Gooden wasn't using his curveball enough as we look at Davy Johnson and McNamara, but Gooden is certainly using it tonight.
1 ball and no strikes. Buckner at third, Rice at second, Baylor at first, 2 out. And another curve for a strike. 1-1. Darling got Evans out in the first inning on a breaking ball. In the first game, Darling threw the same pitch in the dirt. Last night he threw it, and Evans rolled to short. So we'll see if Gooden tries to use him as an escape hatch again tonight. Here's Ron Darling basking in the glow of a big win last night. Bobby Ojeda charting the pitches. 1 ball, 1 strike. And as a high fly ball to left, Mookie has a play. And the Sox begin tonight on a sour note as they strand 3. And for Marty Barrett, picked off in the first inning, and that was the killer tonight so far. At the end of an inning, no score. The Red Sox, with 2 singles, a hit batter, and a walk, failed to score because Marty Barrett was picked off first base.
And I'm sure that's what he was talking about to the second base umpire. There it is. You can see he's caught leaning. They had a play on. And Gooden, you have to give him credit, really working on that. That was a weakness of his, but big one in tonight's game so far.
So Darryl Strawberry, Ray Knight, and Kevin Mitchell, and a big roundhouse curveball one, 1-0. Breaking ball strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. By the way, the official scorers, there are 3 of them for the World Series. Red Foley of the New York Daily News, Dave Nightingale of the Sporting News, Charlie Scoggins of the Lowell, Massachusetts Sun. 1-2, the count is Strawberry. Top of the second inning, no score. The Mets left a runner at third. The Sox, the bases loaded. 2-2. Foul, out of play, off to the left, upstairs. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. You can just imagine, you look at Darryl Strawberry or Wade Boggs, and you wonder the thoughts going through the mind of Ted Williams.
Probably sitting there trying to figure out how he could hit Hurst and Gooden.
2-2. Ground ball to first. Buckner on his knee will have to feed Hurst coming over. 1 away. Ted had such a magnificent career, and it is so good indeed to see him. I mean, what credentials. Player of the decade in the 50s, Hall of Famer, most valuable player twice, led the league, did everything, and eventually got his name and number in the Red Sox history books forever.
Hit 400 on the last day of the season. And how about that little audio cut we had last day here when he hit the home run and said goodbye. Oh.
Here's Ray Knight. 1 out, second inning, no score. Ball 1, 1-0. Two balls and no strikes to Ray. On deck, Kevin Mitchell, the rookie who's the DH tonight. That's an interesting thought. The Sox won without the DH. The Mets win with it.
So far, it's been kind of backwards as to who's winning where. You figure with Baylor, a DH here in Fenway Park would be an edge for the Red Sox. Mets come in and take 2. Pitchers hit in Shea Stadium for the Red Sox, they take 2.
Oh, is it Roger Miller wrote that song, King of the Road? 2-0. Bottom dropped out of that thing. 2 balls and 1 strike to Ray Knight.
That's the thing we're talking about. When he's in a jam, 2 balls and no strikes, he can go to any one of his pitches. He went to that forkball that time.
Now back with a fastball, but he missed. He certainly had him set up for that. 3-1. On the cool side tonight, so the pitchers again are allowed to blow on their hands.
He misses, according to Montague, but he doesn't miss by much. Ray Knight walking over there. That's what he did to Ashby in the playoffs, and they got a little conversation about that.
3-1. High fly ball hooking down the left field line in the corner, and the wind trying to blow it back, but it's going to land in the stands. That breeze is blowing from left to right. So if you're the left fielder, it's a good idea not to quit on any ball hit down in the corner. That will be an influence.
It's the first thing ball players check, is that flag. Not to be patriotic, but which way is it blowing?
3-2 to Ray Knight. We're in the second, no score. Fastball, and he was a little late. So he started him with a forkball, just missed, and he's been battling 3-2. Mets left Tuffle at third in the first inning. The Sox left the bases loaded in the first. Now we have one out, top of the second, no score. Fastball hit to right. Evans has to go back a bit. 2 down.
I don't know many outfielders that work as hard as Evans. Before the game, he's out there by himself. He's got some kind of a drill with Coach Joe Morgan where he's in center field and Joe Morgan stands on the foul line and hits him line drives and short hops, and he's just doing it and doing it and doing it.
Well, here's Kevin Mitchell with 2 out in the second inning. The handyman for the Mets all year. Played 6 different positions for them. Batted in just about every spot in the order. And for good measure, the team barber. 1 ball, no strikes. Ball 2.
I tell you, but the way he cut your hair, he needs a hunting license. Boy, he does a number on you. Gives the kind of haircuts that I got naturally.
2-0. Fastball miss, so he's behind to Mitchell now. 3 balls and no strikes, and Gedman going out. Darryl Strawberry was a most recent, I don't know if I should say customer or victim of Kevin Mitchell.
Victim would be better. You know, one of the things Gedman said about Hurst, he said once he tried not striking out everybody and kind of relaxed, he became a better pitcher. Like he was just being too fine.
Mitchell might be allowed to swing 3-0. He has enough power to hit it out.
I think he would call his pitches if you thought he was.
3-0. Taking all the way. 3-1. Mookie Wilson on deck. And then Rafael Santana bats 9th. Ground ball back a third. Backhanded by Boggs and off the line. Throws him out. Good play. So the Mets are gone in order. And at the end of an inning and a half, no score. When he said goodbye in 1960, Ted Williams was just about 42. And he said goodbye only the way the great ones do, with a home run. It was his 29th home run of the year, the last he would ever hit. Home run number 521. If you never saw him play, you really missed something.
Is there a better name for a guy than Teddy Ballgame?
That's his son, John Henry Williams, sitting just to his right. Okay, Rich Gedman, Dave Henderson, and Spike Owen. And a change, straight change, ball 1. Getty, as they call him here. And another one. 1 ball and 1 strike to Rich Gedman.
The 2 catchers, Carter 7 for 17, 412 with 7 RBIs. Gedman 4, 17, 235, no RBIs.
One ball, 1 strike. Fastball on the hands, a jam job to Santana. Oh, 2 changes and the express on the knuckles and a broken bat.
He really gets that ball inside, and he's got something on it. Look at that kick. Fluid delivery by Gooden.
One away, and Henderson coming up. You might remember that Dwight Gooden is the only Mets pitcher to give up a home run in this series, and he gave up 2 of them to Dave Henderson and to Dwight Evans. Henderson, a fastball hitter. And he challenges him right away. Big numbers for Hendu. Oh, and 1. Check at first. No swing, says Dale Ford. 1 ball, 1 strike. We're in the bottom of the second. 1 out, bases empty. No score. Game 5.
Never seen a young pitcher have as good a year as Gooden and have so many people give theories as to why it was bad. And he himself knows when he talks about it, he said, I just pinched it a few times and I tried to overthrow. If I stay myself, I'll be okay.
2-2. It's incredible when you realize all the things he has accomplished. And he is 21 years old. The Rookie of the Year, the youngest pitcher ever to win the Cy Young Award. 21.
You get right down to it. Billy Lowe's was right. You win 24 games. They expect you to do it every year.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Fastball whacked into right center. Base hit. A late break for Strawberry, and he can't pick it up. Dykstra falls down. Henderson for 3. He is in there. Strawberry had no jump on the ball at all, and then when he got there, he missed the ground ball. Dykstra fell down trying to retrieve. It will go as a triple for Dave Henderson. It should have been cut off as a double.
Dykstra just slips and he can't come up with it, and that's about the time that Henderson was at second base, and he shifted into what for him was high gear, and he goes into third base.
Interesting now with Spike Owen at the plate. Keith Hernandez is up, Tim Tuffle is up, Knight is up, and Santana is halfway. But with 1 out in the second inning, Davy Johnson playing the infield out. Ball 1 and almost nailed it.
And not that it'll make Gooden feel any better, but the pitch that Henderson hit was a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
And dangling in the air is the question. So
if it doesn't move, you'll be backing up third. That's what the answer to that question is.
McNamara, who saw 3 men stranded in the first inning, a runner at third with 1 out in the second. 1-0. Found back. 1-1 to Spike. So Dave Henderson, with Strawberry first not getting a jump to cut it off, then missing the ball, then Dykstra falling down, easily running a double into a triple.
A lot going on. Latchman talking to Henderson. Spike Owen backs out. Look at Gary Carter. Here's your game within the game. Take a little bit more extra time checking Latchman. Still not sure.
1 ball, 1 strike is Spike Owen. Lifted to left field. That should be deep enough. Let's see. Mookie for the catch. Henderson coming to Carter. Too late.
They're going to run on Mookie Wilson's arm. You can see he was back there ready to go, and it's not close at all. Mookie would have a better chance if that ball would land on that grass, but his throw is off the target. Watch where it hits and how it dies. Just boom, like a big cantaloupe.
So 1-0 Red Sox, and the batter is Wade Boggs. Spike Owen, the little guy, picks up the big man